I quit. I'm done. No more. After that, what's the point? God damn it. Well, since that didn't work, might as well discuss why I just tried to off myself. Hello everyone, my name is Dylan from Nerdified, and welcome to a little different review. This is going to be an unscripted review. I usually do try to script my reviews, but this is going to be more akin to a rant than anything else. Because, the show I'm talking about is that bad. The Mortal Instruments. One of my favorite book series of all time. Written by Cassandra Clare, these books are fantastic. Great characters, really compelling story. Just, it all comes together into a rich, deep lore that spans 6 books, 3 prequels, a sequel, the first book in a sequel series being released next month, and spin-offs, as well as a movie and a TV show. The movie was trash. The City of Bones was garbage. A horrible rendition of the first book. However, that makes this even worse because I would rather watch that 3 times in a row than sit through Shadowhunters, which is a TV series based off of the entire book series. This show's not good. This show is not good. Originally, I was just going to do a review on the first episode, but after watching the second episode, just to make sure that, maybe it got better. Maybe, they just had a first rough episode and things got better. I watched 5 episodes of this crap and it gets worse, not better. Oh, trust me. My biggest gripes with this show is how they portray some of the characters. Now, before we go any further, I get it. Directors and writers need to take their own creative course when adapting original series and stuff and making it into, a different form of media. I get that. I'm a writer myself. I understand you need to take creative liberties. However, you don't change the fundamental of a character. And I'm just going to put this right now. There will be spoilers in this review. Because in order to fully grasp how terrible this show is, you need to fully understand, which will be spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show and for some god-awful reason you want to, here's your spoiler warning. But I'm warning you as well, you don't want to watch this show. Okay, so back on to what I was originally saying. You don't change the fundamentals of a character. Jocelyn Frey, Clary's mother, who is the main protagonist of all the renditions of the books, of the TV show, and of the movie. Clary Frey is our main character. Her mother, Jocelyn Frey, seems like your average, overprotective mom. But she's not, because she's a fugitive who everyone thinks is dead from the Shadow World, and I'm not going to get into specifics like that, but Jocelyn, and by extension Clary, are what you call Shadowhunters, who are half humans, half angel hybrids that fight off demons and rogue vampires, werewolves, warlocks, fairies, all that kind of stuff that you see in your fairy tales. Except Jocelyn never wanted that life for Clary. She hired a warlock to steal all of Clary's memories and had never intended for Clary to be a part of the Shadow World. She had always wanted Clary to live a normal life. So, Shadowhunters, why? does Jocelyn give Clary Estelle on her birthday? That makes no goddamn sense. Jocelyn would never give Clary anything that could ever relate to the Shadow World. Jocelyn didn't want that for Clary. Jocelyn wanted Clary to live a normal life as a normal girl. Yet, she not only gave her Estelle, but she planned on telling Clary the truth. I'm sorry, what? That just does not happen. That would not happen. That is literally changing the fundamental of what makes Jocelyn Frey, Jocelyn Frey. You don't do that. That is a huge no. You do not change the fundamental of a character. Oh, but I'm not done dissecting these characters. Oh, no. Luke Garraway, one of my personal favorite characters in the books. In the book, he owned a bookstore. He ran a bookstore out of his house. So tell me, show, what was wrong with that? Why did you feel the need to make him a cop? Yeah, you heard me right, folks. Luke Garraway is a cop in this show. How that makes sense? Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that after seeing multiple episodes. They made Luke a cop. And for no real reason either. It's like the writers sat down and were like, you know something? I like this Luke character. He seems really, really interesting. You know, owns a bookstore. You know, bookstores are boring though. I mean, I don't think kids can connect to bookstores. I know, let's make him a cop. Because that makes a whole lot of sense. But it gets worse from there. Those are our side characters. But when you screw up your main characters, then you got problems. Clary. I don't even know where to begin with Clary. Clary was portrayed as the strong, independent girl in the books, and she gets stronger as the books progress, becomes even more independent, but she started out independent. In this show, Clary's this whiny little, oh, I need to find my mom, oh, I need to find Simon, oh, this, I can't do anything by myself. No, that was not how Clary was in the books. Yes, she went on about how she needed to find her mom, and when Simon was kidnapped by vampires, she went on how they need to find it. But she didn't come off as whiny. She comes off as whiny in the show. And that could be, you know, part of the writing and part of her actors acting, and I'm going to get to that soon. Jace, though. Jace was this really memorable, snarky, sarcastic, in love with himself, fun character. In the show, they strip that all away. He becomes this base, macho guy, and it's like none of his wit, none of his charm, none of anything that made Jace Jace. He's become a base average male lead. It's sad to watch the characters you fall in love with reading these books become so bad in this show. And like I said before, it's part of the acting, because the acting in this show is subpar at best. At worst, it's horrible. Main thing I'd like to point to when it comes to acting. There's this point where, at Pandemonium, Jace, covered by glamour, walks into Clary, and Clary, of course, sees him because she can see through the glamours, and like, watch where you're going. And Jace turns back, you can see me? And just that exchange, oh my god, that exchange between them was so forced. It was so, it's like they felt like they were reading it right off their script. Hey, can you watch where you're going? You can see me? It was so bad, and it doesn't get better. It does not get better. The acting is just subpar, and that is giving it, more credit than it deserves. Another huge problem I have with this show is how it's adding side characters, making them major characters, or bringing characters in or events too early, which screws up, because if it's true that they're planning on making the whole series, pretty sure it's slotted for 12 episodes for the first season, but if they're planning on making more seasons based on the rest of the books, then they're really doing a horrible job, because Maureen is, in the later books, a really minor character. She's like a really young teenager, I think 13 or 14 compared to them being 16, 17 in the books, 18 now in the show, which I don't really have a problem with. Who was pretty much, loved Simon, was a groupie, she was, had a girl crush on Simon. However, in the show, they make her the same age as Clary and Simon and make her a part of Simon's band. Essentially thrusting her into the main group, kind of, but still having her as a secondary character. And this screws up a lot for later on, but it gets worse. Camille Belcourt. Some of you may know her if you've read later on the books, and especially if you've read the prequel, the Infernal Devices, which I highly recommend, by the way. Camille Belcourt plays a pivotal role in the 4th book and in the prequels. They've already introduced her, I think, 4 episodes into the show. It messes up a lot of things, and Camille looks completely different from how she's described in the book. And I have a really, really nitpicky thing when they take how a character appears in a book and completely changes it. Another huge example of this is Valentine. Why can these people not get Valentine's appearance right? He is described in the book as broad-shouldered with white blonde hair. It makes him, stand out. In the movie, they made him this really young guy with black hair. And in the show, they make him this really old guy with no hair. I mean, Valentine's old, don't get me wrong, but he seems to be a little too old, at least to me, in the show. And again, he's bald. So it's like... Oh, where do I go from here? Where can I possibly go from here to dissect this show? Oh yeah, what is with people's obsession in making the vampires actually evil and siding with Valentine? Please explain that to me, because that never happens in the book. The vampires would never join forces with Valentine, and Valentine would never join forces with Downworlders. So please explain to me why this is happening. Or why the vampires want the Mortal Cup to be, because it seems to me, like in the show, the vampires want the Mortal Cup for themselves. Thing is, the vampires can't do anything with the Mortal Cup, so explain to me why they want it. I really don't know what else I can say. Horrible characters, horrible writing, horrible everything. This show is not good. This show is not good. It is worse than the movie, and the movie was pretty terrible as well. If you are a fan of the Mortal Instruments, do not watch this show. For your own sanity's sake, do not watch Shadowhunters. Stay far away, as far away from it as you can. Otherwise, you'll end up like me, wanting to off yourself with a Nintendo Zapper. Well, that's all the time I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video and if you enjoyed this rant, be sure to leave a like, share, and maybe even subscribe. We here at Nerdified really appreciate your support. Until next time, guys, this is Dylan with Nerdified, signing out.